really ruthless, greedy people oppress, and I don't like that side of capitalism. So, do I have the other side? Oh, ouch! I didn't put the good side of capitalism. See, it shows how much of an optimist I am. But anyway, this is the bad side of capitalism, and it's based on U.S. currency, obviously. I printed 50,000 miniature bills of this and would crumple them up and leave them on the street, and people, it was really sad. I did an art show in Brooklyn, and I had a huge version of this, and this homeless lady came in and said, I wondered what that is. I found one of those on the street. I was really excited about it, but I realized it wasn't a real dollar. So I was like, well, here's a real dollar. Yeah, you just never know where the potential bad consequences of something you do. That was, but anyway, this is talking about our cultural and economic imperialism, oppression, and the e pluribus venom for on the right with the vulture instead of the eagle. But the other side, the good side of capitalism, which was the other side of the bills I produced, was a printing press, and it said freedom of the press is guaranteed to those who own one, and it talked about empowering people and if you're resourceful and you create and industrious and you create something for yourself, you can basically thrive and live life on your own terms, and that's the good side of the American dream. This piece, another piece sort of inspired by Ed Ruscha, who's got the famous standard station, but it's a little bit more, his is a more neutral pop art take on the gas station. Mine's a little bit more, it's a little darker. There's a factory in the background, and it says, flammable liquid, America's favorite flammable liquid, talking about gas, and it's fossil fuels are going to run out, and we're it's bad for the environment, it's bad for our foreign policy. I think that the best investment that we, not just the government, but we could make is for example, my wife, and I'm not trying to get on a soapbox here and tell you how righteous I am or anything. It's a choice. My wife and I, we can't afford solar panels for our house or our business because they're pretty expensive, but we check off the green energy box on our energy bills so that the sources of our energy, we pay a little bit more, come from that. The idea of investing in the technologies that are going to be what the United States can sell to the rest of the world. So if you're a right-wing economic imperialist, you should definitely be able to get behind that. And if you're a tree-hugging hippie, you're like, hey, yeah, less CO2 in the atmosphere, man. That's cool too. So these are things I'm trying to push in my work. Human rights is another thing I'm trying to push. That's Aung San Suu Kyi from Burma, who was recently finally released from house arrest after being under house arrest for off and on for 20 years. She was democratically elected leader there, and but there's a very oppressive regime. On the right, that's a Burmese monk, and there was a protest by the Burmese monks in I think it was 2007, and it was violently squashed. And it would be the outrage in the United States, but because very little media gets in there, just how bad it was not well reported. This is another environmental piece, based on both clip art 50s advertising iconography and a photo I shot from Brooklyn looking into Manhattan, where there's a really nice sunset. But I thought, I wonder if that sunset's awesome because of pollution. And these sunsets are to die for. I guess it wasn't that funny. This is healthcare reform. My disappointment that it was so weak, the healthcare reform. I mean, caring for the least fortunate in society, to me, is a sign of a compassionate, civilized society. It's to me, it's embarrassing that they've got better healthcare in Cuba and Canada. I mean, look at how primitive Canada is. they've got better health care. You know, in the UK, we kicked their ass like 200 something years ago. Right, man? I'm in South Carolina. Go team. So, you know, yeah, and then, you know, of course there was a lot of propaganda about death panels are going to kill Granny and it's going to, you know, it's going to drive costs up. But that actually, none of that was true. It was all really because lobbyists from the health insurance industry and the prescription drug industry had enough money to create a lot of propaganda, misinformation, disinformation, and a lot of us fell for it. War is over. You know, that piece, you know, eventually everyone was like, oh yeah, Iraq, that was not such a good idea. There were no weapons of mass destruction. A lot of civilians are being killed. A lot of US troops are being killed. We're wasting a lot of money. And so we should get out of there. But we screwed that country over. You know, Saddam Hussein being gone, that's a good thing. I can agree with that. But there needed to be a plan for nation building. We say, oh yeah, we're going to go in there and just make it a democracy. It doesn't work like that. It was really rude. It was rude what we did.